Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, January 24th is now called to order. Andrea, would you please call the roll?
Good evening, everyone. As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. It is now 5:02 p.m. Calling the roll, Ms. Stevens. Ms. Stevens is absent at the moment. Ms. Simon?
Here.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Sweeney?
Present.
Mr. Tuma?
Here.
Mr. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Schran? Ms. Conwell?
Present.
Ms. Turner?
Present.
Council President Jones?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. This time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Andrea, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, Maurice Rhodes.
Good evening.
Evening.
Mr. Jones, to this body, I ask that you tear down the former Juvenile Justice Center at East 22nd and Cedar because it retards the growth and progress of the city of Cleveland, Ward 5, and its people. Further, I ask that you give the land to CMHA. Mr. Jones, to U.S. President, Mr. Biden, I ask that you order HUD Secretary, Ms. Fudge, to give CMHA $2 billion from her $30.4 billion two-year discretionary fund budget so that CMHA can tear down old Cedar Estates and build a new old Cedar Estates, plus finish modernizing Othaway Estates. Finally, modernize and develop all of CMHA. Continuing, I want $2 billion from Ms. Marshall Fudge in order to build moderate and low-income housing in Cleveland, wards 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. I want the empowerment zones that President Bill Clinton and you Democrats promised me. Thank you.
Ms. Nora Kelly.
Good evening, Council. My name, again, is Nora Kelly, and I'm a Clevelander, and I proudly live in Council District 2. I'm grateful for the opportunity to provide public comment in advance of February 4th, which is Transit Equity Day. For the past 6 years, a network of labor unions, community groups, and environmental groups all across the country have come together to recognize February 4th as Transit Equity Day, a national day of action, both to commemorate Rosa Parks and other civil rights icons, and also to advocate for accessible, reliable, affordable transit powered by renewable energy. In the lead up to Transit Equity Day, I want to recognize the critical advocacy work and organizing work of Clevelanders for Public Transit. I respectfully ask for you to consider taking on the Clevelanders for Public Transit Challenge to elected leaders to rely on public transit exclusively for 1 week in the month of February. As elected leaders, you have the power to make transit better. And while residents of this county are acutely aware that more often than not, elected leaders in Columbus and DC have made your work much harder, there are things that we can do here in Cuyahoga County to deliver meaningful transit reform, and I urge you to consider a couple of very specific measures. By way of background, earlier this month, a number of mobility-focused organizations released a set of recommendations, which I believe you all received. But those recommendations come with a really acute understanding that 12% of Cuyahoga County residents do not have a car. Others, families rely on a single car between multiple people. And then even more households are relying on they have reliable needs for safe and affordable transit. So there are just 4 really specific recommendations of that lengthy measure that I wanted to call to your attention. The first is to appoint transit riders to the RTA board. The second is to support the city of Cleveland in its goals to eliminate traffic deaths by 2032 through the Vision Zero commitment and encourage other municipalities to incorporate similar safe systems approaches to street safety. The third is to require roadway and building construction projects that use county funds to avoid sidewalk, bike lane, and transit stop closures to ensure continued access. Where closures are unavoidable, work with municipalities to improve alternative routes for pedestrians, bicyclists, and transit users. And then finally, work with the City of Cleveland, RTA, and other municipalities to implement the zoning and land use recommendations that come out of the transit-oriented development zoning study. So just 4 of the very specific recommendations, or a number of other recommendations in that report. That's well worth your time. Again, appreciate the opportunity to come before you and wish you all a good evening.
Adam Brejnahan.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Adam Bresnahan. I'm here with Cleveland for Public Transit. Well, I was going to say the exact same thing as Nora said, so I'll keep it short. February 4th is Transit Equity Day. The day was chosen to commemorate the birthday of Rosa Parks. Cleveland for Public Transit wants to ask you, beginning in the week beginning on February 4th, to rely on public transit, so you can see how life is for 13% of people who live in Cuyahoga County who don't have a car, or in the city of Cleveland, I think it's around 25%, and East Cleveland, it's even up to 35%. RTA is great, but it also has a lot of problems, and it would be great for you to see that and see why we're always here bothering you about funding the RTA. So thanks. Have a nice evening.
Barbara Madison.
I'm glad they called me now. I'm at the Norma Hurst Shelter.
Excuse me, Ms. Madison.
I'm sorry. I always do that. I'm at the Norma Hurst Shelter.
And Ms. Madison, if you could state your name for the record, please.
Sorry, Barbara Madison.
Thank you.
And I'm from the Norma Hurst Shelter. And Mr. Sweeney was there not too long ago. One of the biggest problems we're having now, because we're having some changeovers, is who's going to be in the shelter. We have found that it's going to be mentally ill people who are coming into the shelter with no treatment at all. And our staff is not equipped for that, because you should have some kind of degree, some kind of understanding. A concern about also the danger. We're in danger. We have no security in that facility, not one that you can think of. In the last month, we had 3 attacks, one that resulted in a broken hip, hospitalization. My attack, I was assaulted in the parking lot of Cleveland State University. I have obtained a restraining order, because I don't intend for this to go on for anybody else. And there was another severe nasal injury. There are threats constantly. I do know our policeman at the 3rd District, and I also have spoken with the prosecutor. I said, I call the police all the time. She said, that's what they're there for. So that's what I do. When they come in, they say, hi, Ms. Madison, what's going on? We need to have that stopped, because we are under some severe threats, especially from people who have not been diagnosed as insane or psychological issues. I appreciate Mr. Sweeney for coming, but let's do something about this. Thank you very much.
Helen Barkley Jones.
Greetings, my name is Helen Barkley Jones, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I am the founder of Barclay Jones Realty, a family-owned full-service firm since 1989. I'm here today to ask for a partnership with the county with your real estate and community building projects. Barclay Jones Realty was a part of the team that developed RTA's Windermere Rapid Station in East Cleveland. Barclay Jones Realty was the first to offer new house construction in the east side of Cleveland in 50 years. We wrote the grant and managed the development of the expansion of the Catherine Tyler Center on 105th Street between St. Clair and Superior, which included 8 new homes, 4 on each side of the center. I'm the past president of both the Glenville Business Association and the Buckeye Business Association, and up until COVID-19, I was a member of the Uptown Business Association. I also worked for the county for 4 years as an assessor in the appraisal department, focusing on new construction. I am the first African-American female real estate appraiser licensed in the state of Ohio. Throughout my career, I learned that selling real estate is far more than finding housing for people. It's also building communities and neighborhoods. In the 90s, I started Project Unity, uniting neighbors in touch with their youth. And in 2012, the How Institute, which teaches and inspires through art and culture. As the CFO of Family First Village and Child Care, we nurture foster children for the state of Ohio via the county and care for babies 6 months to 12 years of age. Recently, I loaned my talents as CEO to the Eastside Citizens Empowerment Foundation. And this past weekend, we pressed forward to present a fabulous event purposed to bring peace, love, and hope to the community. My opening statement to the attendees of that event was that we are endeavoring to build a better world, and in order to do that, we must learn to love our neighbors. I believe that with all my heart, and certainly with my team's experience, drive, and desire, we can form a powerful collaboration in this county. I can be reached at hbarclayjones@gmail.com or at 216-800-1061. I hope to hear from one or all of you because we are better when we work together than we are individually. The African word for that is Ubuntu. I am because we are. Thank you.
Lou?
Good evening, everybody. Today, I'm glad to let you know, today is the 3rd day of the Year of Rabbit. So I'm appreciating all the people. Remember, I mentioned that before, you wearing something red to celebrate with the whole community, Asian community. Well, today you may not think I will say something different, but I actually will. However, it's still related. If you don't know who Rosa Parks was or what she means to us today, you don't know how horrible our homeless shelters are, at least you know we have inflation. Everywhere you go, business, they have less hours to serve you, less people to help you, because we have a serious workforce issues. So public transit, the reason it's called Lifeline for lots of people, it is there not because you can afford to have a car or not. It actually serves a purpose in the community. So if Clevelanders for Public Transit invites all of you, especially Mr. Ronay, to have a 1 week, vacation, let your car sit in the garage to get some rest, just to use a public transit, then you will actually in better position to even raise the voice for your constituency that State of Ohio, State House, people in the State House, we need a proper funding. I know, for example, North Olmsted, right now the people in North Olmsted complain the GCRTA system redesign actually took out a bus line for them to go around directly to some of the places they could go. But they can still come to downtown for events. But for them to go to Parker Park and other places, now it's more difficult. Workforce issue is right upon us. Not only the people in homeless shelter, few people can still hold on a job, get in trouble. The people outside of homeless shelters experience the same problem. So if we want everything to be equitable, public transit is one of the keys. It's not only good for the environment, it's not only good for city or county planning, it's actually good for our workforce, good for public health. Just like the county already declared, structural system racism is a public health crisis. Without a good public transit system, it makes the crisis even bigger and worse. You are all invited to take this challenge, either enjoy or suffer a little bit, throughout this week. Well, it started one day before the ending of the Chinese Lunar New Year. Hopefully, you will come with us so we can really thrive together. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment portion for today's meeting.
All right. Can we have a motion to approve our minutes as reflected on today's agenda?
So moved. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. At this time, messages from our county executive.
Thank you, Council President, and good afternoon, members of council. One, I want to thank you, Council President, for your insightful remarks at our ceremonial inaugural this Saturday, and I want to thank your colleagues that were there and all of you. It just was a great gathering of our community, and I want to thank Cleveland State University. So thanks again. This is our second meeting with you from the administration, and I appreciate and continue to appreciate all the interim support as the team administration onboards to its work. And again, council's been a terrific partner. Wanted to say to you the space of the work we've been really in and getting ourselves fully briefed up to speed with where you've been and getting a platform ready to roll on some very important issues. One of them would be working with you on our justice in jail. And I say justice first because I want to make sure that we're working as much on the upstream issues of justice as well as humane conditions in our jails. The second is we've been diving deeply in health and human service matters on things that need to get fixed, things that need to get changed, and also attending to the everyday needs of those that are in our system, working with us in our health and human service system. So we've been busying ourselves a lot with developing a framework for action with you on those big matters. On the public comment, I don't know if I should always comment on the comment, but I do want to say that all of the comments to me are meaningful that I heard today. Just to pick on one, I think appreciate the commentary about public transit, its equity, its need by our workforce, our residents, especially the transit dependent who don't own cars. I rode transit on the first day to work here. It was efficient, effective, and I'll continue to do that. But a few members in this room, including some council team members, have said maybe we should lean in even deeper on transit access for our own employees, and I'm committed to that, to work with you on that. I think there's a great opportunity to better utilize the system we have. And as I said in the last meeting, I will be introducing to you mobility infrastructure division, department. We're still working out what that is, office, but making sure that we are advocates for the mobility of our residents throughout Cuyahoga County. Finally, I want to say, well, two things. One is we are, as we all know, about to face what's been sadly called the benefits cliff drop. And I think our work together, I appreciate the work of Council Person Conwell on Health and Human Services. You know well, Councilwoman Conwell, that the SNAP program is in jeopardy, that residents who have relied deeply on the SNAP program are are really in a vulnerable place if they weren't already. And I think our co-advocacy, administration and council, to everybody that will listen on the need to make sure that our families are stable, our individuals in our community are stable that draw upon SNAP benefits. The way I look at it from hearing from our HHS team, it is truly a cliff, and we've got to find a way to cushion that blow. So I look forward to working with you on that. Finally, was after the City Club appearance by the Deputy Secretary of State, State Department today at the City Club, I had the opportunity to join Deputy Secretary Sherman and Governor DeWine and Mayor DeGeeter of Parma in Parma with a Ukrainian refugee family who've since June been living in our community, have successfully onboarded into Cuyahoga County in North Royalton, and also the kids go both to school in North Royalton and in their own native tongue Ukrainian in Parma on the weekends. The parents were effusively thankful to Cuyahoga County for welcoming them. And I said, all thanks go back to you for your courage in your journey to get here. They were a true inspiration, and we spent about an hour speaking with them about that journey and what it's been like arriving in Cuyahoga County. I just wanted to say to everybody that's here and anybody that's out listening and watching, thanks to the Cuyahoga County citizenry for welcoming those who come from other places, but particularly our brothers and sisters that are in a war and right now living in hell in the travesty of war in the Ukraine. This family was particularly grateful to you in Cuyahoga County for welcoming them. So let's keep doing that. I'm grateful to all of our nonprofit intermediaries that help in that effort, and to communities like Parma and North Royalton that have welcomed a new family to our community. We're probably going to see a lot more migration to this community, but we have capacity to absorb and bring them into our family in Cuyahoga County. Thanks.
All right. This time, legislation introduced by council. Consideration of a resolution of council for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2023-0019, approving a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8 AFL-CIO, representing approximately 36 employees in 16 classifications in the Cuyahoga County Public Defender's Office, under the direction of the Chief Public Defender for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025.
All right, this item was previously discussed in executive session, and council will take no action on this item. Consideration of a resolution of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2023-0020, amending resolution number R 2016-0218, dated December 13th, 2016, as amended by resolution numbers 2018-0067, 0061, and 0049, which authorized a grant in the amount of $2,500,000 to Variety Properties, LLC, for the benefit of a project located at 11801 through 11825 Lorraine Avenue in the city of Cleveland, by extending the resolution sunset provision from February 28th, 2023 to November 30th, 2023.
This item will be referred to the Community Development Committee. And Andre, let me say that Councilwoman Cheryl Stevens will be excused today. Do we need to have a motion for that?
Yes.
Motion.
So I'm gonna make that motion. Properly moved by Councilman Sweeney, seconded by Councilwoman Conwell. All those in favor of excusing Councilwoman Cheryl Stevens, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports in consideration of resolutions of council for second reading.
Resolution 2022-0442, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of Brooklyn for the Memorial Trail Connector and Stickney Creek Restabilization Project from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the February 14th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0443, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of South Euclid for Year 2 of the Deer Sterilization Pilot Program from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the February 14th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2023-0002, awarding a total sum not to exceed $360,000 from the Cuyahoga County Community Development Fund to the Cleveland Cultural Gardens Federation for the maintenance and upgrades for the Cleveland Cultural Gardens located in the city of Cleveland.
This item will move to the February 14th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
And at this time, Council President Jones and Councilmember Miller has requested their names be added as sponsors.
President, please add my name. Turner.
That Councilwoman
Turner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-0003, awarding a total sum not to exceed $300,000 to the Association of African American Cultural Gardens for the African American Cultural Garden Monument Project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the February 14th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd asked in committee that my name be added to this, Madam Clerk.
That the Councilwoman's name.
I was
Are you going to say that?
exactly.
Okay, thank
At this
you.
time, the following council members have requested that their names be added as sponsors: Councilmember Simon, Councilmember Stevens, Councilmember Kelly, and Councilmember Miller.
Mr. President. Please. And Turner.
Could you add Sweeney, please?
Could you add two of them up too, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 2023-0004, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
This item will move to the February 14th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Legislation introduced by executive. Consideration of a resolution for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of suspending the rules say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the rules are suspended.
Resolution 2023-0021, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2023 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations, appropriation transfers, and cash transfers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution is the regular fiscal agenda of amendments to the 2022 to 23 biennial budget. The answers to our questions to OBM are on your desks. The items are routine and relate mostly to appropriation of grant funds that we have received, and also minor changes to the accounting structure that have no fiscal impact. I recommend passage on first reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2023-0022, authorizing an assignment and amendment to an agreement with 5 Star Aviation LLC for lease of land and a corporate hangar facility at the Cuyahoga County Airport, located at 26500 Curtis Wright Parkway in Highland Heights, for the period August 13th, 1993 through August 12th, 2033, to effectuate the assignment and assumption of the lease to Highland Heights Richmond LLC, effective March 1st, 2023, and to amend the agreement to grant tenant up to 3 renewal terms through March 1st, 2054.
This item will be referred to the Public Works, Procurement, and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2023-0023, authorizing an award on RFP 104752 and a purchase and sale agreement with Genesis Global Holding LLC in the amount of $680,000 for the disposition and sale of county-owned real property located at 13231 Euclid Avenue, City of East Cleveland, for various permanent parcel numbers, effective upon signatures of all parties.
This item will be referred to the Public Works, Procurement, and Contracting Committee. Committee report and consideration of a resolution for second reading.
Resolution 2023-0009, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Service Express, Inc. for enterprise hardware maintenance and support services at various county locations for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2025, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $924,426.74.
This item will move to the February 14th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2023-0005, authorizing a revenue-generating agreement with City of Cleveland Heights in the amount not to exceed $600,000 for maintenance and repair of storm and sanitary sewers located in the County Sewer District Number 17 for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Motion to adopt.
Second, Conwell.
Mr. President, this is authorizing a revenue-generating agreement with the City of Cleveland Heights in the amount not to exceed $600,000. And this is, again, for sanitary and storm sewer maintenance. Nicole English from Public Works came before the committee on January 18th to discuss this. All work will be direct bill for each piece performed, and the county will assist Cleveland Heights with sanitary and storm sewer maintenance, including maintenance projects that are specific to them. The work includes both the city sanitary and stormwater sewers. This is an agreement that the county goes into with many municipalities. Again, it's a perfect example of working together with our municipalities. Several years ago, Parma entered into an agreement with the county, and we had some severe flooding out there. And a lot of the issues that we had have been alleviated with the help of the county. So I'd ask for my colleagues' movement forward on this under second reading on this piece of legislation here.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0006, making an award on requisition 10886 to Tarek Roof, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $1,143,276 for the Cuyahoga County Airport Roof Replacement Project.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Mr. President, here, this is, again, came before Public Works on January 18th. Ms. English presented this as well. This is an old roof, almost 50 years old. A lot of patching efforts over the last several years, and it's becoming costly, long past its effective life expectancy. The new roof will take approximately 180 days to install, and we have a full 30-year warranty on this. And Tarek was the low bidder, and their bid was lower than the engineer's estimate for this project. And it is going to be funded 100% from the Capital Improvement Fund. And I ask for my colleagues to move this along on second reading suspension so that work can begin on this roof. Thank you.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0007, making an award on requisition 8737 to Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry in the amount not to exceed $735,278 for alternative housing and related support services for COVID recovery for the period July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
Move to adopt. Second.
I ask my colleagues to adopt this alternative housing for families that are in need. And in committee, we learned a total of 20 housing units will be established. Currently, there are 5 in the first phase and 2 currently in use. There will be a tour on Tuesday, January 31st at 4 o'clock to see the housing that has been developed as an alternative housing solution for our Cuyahoga County residents. So I ask for your support.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2020, I'm sorry?
You please add my name. Turner. Thank you.
Okay. Resolution 2023-0008, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Youth Opportunities Unlimited for operation of the Youth Resource Center for the Comprehensive Case Management and Employment Program, Employment, Education, and Training Services for Young Adults in connection with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $850,000.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. So this matter was heard in committee on Wednesday. Rachel Benders from Workforce came in and discussed the Youth Center at 1910 Carnegie, and I asked for your support. These are TANF, and we owe dollars, and we'll get that directly from them.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0010, authorizing a contract with Environmental Systems Research Institute, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $1 million for subscription and technical support services for the Geospatial Data Infrastructure Program, effective upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution approves a 3-year contract for a total of $1 million with Environmental Systems Research Institute for subscription and support services to maintain the Geospatial Data Infrastructure Program, which is the computer systems required to create, manage, and provide standardized location of geographic features. This infrastructure is required to provide new and highly accurate address standards for call location and routing for the next generation 911 system. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0011, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Applewood Centers, Inc. for secure residential treatment services for the period January 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2024, to modify the terms effective July 1st, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,114,826.80.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this was heard in committee and vetted. This is an extension modification of the terms for the juvenile court. Recommendation was adoption.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2023-0012, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Applewood Centers, Inc. for emergency respite and crisis bed services for youth, referred by the Coordinated Approach to Misdemeanors, also known as the CALM program, for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2023, to modify the terms effective July 1st, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $926,647.31.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, also through the juvenile court, this is our necessary program for them for crisis bed intervention. Kind of hard to listen to the presentation, but this is a necessary function of the juvenile court, and recommendation was adoption.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0013, authorizing a contract with United Way of Greater Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $1,220,450 for fiscal agent services and emergency food purchase assistance by hunger centers serving eligible Cuyahoga County residents for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I ask my colleagues to pass this contract for needed services for Cuyahoga County residents. There was an ask to look at an increase in 2024 based on food cost increases. So just making that everyone aware, and I ask for passage.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0014, authorizing to adopt the Child Abuse and Neglect Memorandum of Understanding with Cuyahoga County law enforcement agencies and entities.
Move to adopt.
Second.
To the committee, the primary goal of this project is to ensure the prompt reporting of all incidents of suspected child abuse and neglect, including human trafficking, conduct comprehensive and coordinated investigations of suspected child abuse or neglect, including human trafficking, and to provide, when feasible, for only one interview of a child who is the subject of a report of child abuse or neglect. And every so often, they need to update the memorandum of understanding, and so I ask for passage.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0015, authorizing an amendment to a contract with the Salvation Army for supportive services for homeless men in the Pickup Assessment Sheltering Service Transitional Housing Program for the period January 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to September 30th, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $794,821.
I move to adopt.
Second.
I asked my colleagues, as you can see, HHS was very busy last week. The next several contracts will be based on homeless services for our community. And coming up, just for the community to know, I have asked the Director of Office of Homeless Services to kind of work on a strategic plan, what we're going to do, Cuyahoga County globally in regards to the homeless services that we need, and that meeting will be coming up with consultants. She has moved forward and have consultants that will meet with me and the HHS committee in regards to what they have in plan. So I asked my colleagues to pass the next several contracts that are needed services for our community.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0016, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for permanent supportive housing services to chronically homeless single adults and high-barrier homeless persons for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2023, and for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $2 million for the various providers A through G as listed on the agenda.
To adopt.
Second.
Ask for passage for my colleagues.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0017, authorizing a master contract with various providers in the total amount not to exceed $994,088 for rapid rehousing services for homeless families and shelters in connection with the fiscal year 2021 Continuum of Care Homeless Assistance Grant Program for the period June 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2023 for the various providers A through D as listed on the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, once again, I ask for passage for this needed services.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2023-0018, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for short-term emergency child care for children in the county's custody for the period September 1st, 2022 through July 31st, 2024, to change the scope of services and terms effective upon signature of all parties, no additional funds required.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President and my colleagues, this is a very important piece of legislation. It will actually open up some emergency child care placement for children that we know are in need of placement at DCFS. So I ask my colleagues for their support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Committee report and consideration of an ordinance for second reading adoption under suspension of rules.
At the request of the Law Department, this item is being held until further notice.
All right, at this time, are there any miscellaneous committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilman Miller.
My colleagues, since no legislation was referred today, the Finance and Budgeting Committee is not expected to meet before the next council meeting.
All right.
Mr. President,
Yes.
as far as Public Works go, we had two pieces of legislation introduced. I'm going to check to see what the time constraints are on that, and if we need to meet, we will, but I'll check with the staff to make sure that we don't meet unnecessarily if we don't have to. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, council operations will meet at this regularly scheduled time.
Okay. Any other reports?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Health and Human Services did not have any items. There are one presentation for sure that will be presented, and possibly two. I tried to coordinate it with contracts, so it wouldn't have to invite anyone out especially, but it didn't work out like that, so I apologize.
All right.
I have one, Meredith. Councilwoman Turner, sorry.
Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee will meet at the regularly scheduled time.
Excellent.
Okay, Environment has a meeting Wednesday at 3 with a presentation.
All right, excellent. All right, are there any miscellaneous business?
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you. Real quickly, had an opportunity with several of my colleagues to attend the inaugural of the county executive. Just want to say what a nice event that was, and look forward to working together with the county executive to do good things this year. That's all. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent.
Mr. President?
Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joe, would you consider coming up? Oh, yeah. You're just passing out. Here, look. That one's mine. That's the top. What he's passing out right now, Mr. President, to my colleagues, is two ordinances, one dealing with the sheriff and defining and clarifying who the sheriff reports to, and there's another ordinance that I sponsored dealing with the 6.44% and the individuals that didn't get the raise because of the cap in the pay band. And I had them placed on the calendar on January 24th, and the council president and I had a conversation on Friday, and I'm just wondering how come the legislation got removed, and I still like to get it introduced.
So you chose the miscellaneous business to present it. Okay. Well, one, you did not share with your colleagues. This is their first time hearing about it.
Meredith heard about it already. Actually,
only because you and I talked. But they have no idea. This is important information. This is regarding salaries, and it would have been good to have some buy-in from the administration and from this. I mean, anytime you introduce salaries, it's certainly going to make employees happy. But and you are the primary sponsor, and they'll certainly be very happy with you. But we need to do a due diligence. You owe them, for this to pass, you owe your colleagues the opportunity to learn in private, not in private, but at least to do the best to advocate for those that you want, give it the best chance to win. So I don't want to delve into too much. There's a process, and I know you're still learning, but
I would like to respond. I've been here 2 years, and I learn every
go right
day.
ahead.
All I'm asking for the legislation to be introduced, and it's your sole responsibility to introduce a piece of legislation, put it on the agenda or not. I spoke to both of my colleagues after you shared that with me. One of them said they're going to read it. The other one, I had a discussion. We talked about other things. I shared it with the administration. And it's a courtesy, and I should have asked them beforehand. But they do have the information, and once it's introduced, each chairman have the ability to add it to their calendar. So all I'm asking is I'd like this legislation introduced so we can have a public debate on two things that I believe are important to the citizens of Cuyahoga County. Thank you.
All right. Any other miscellaneous business?
Mr. President, I just want to state that this is highly irregular, and I understand perhaps the frustration of my colleague about not having things done in the rapid way. Perhaps Cleveland does it. But we've had a process in place now for almost 12 years that's worked very well with my colleagues, and it's collegial, it's professional, and doesn't leave room for miscellaneous business like this. So I hope you and the colleague can get together and figure out a way to address the need to get legislation out. But I just wanted to state that this is not a usual way we conduct business.
Mr. President, may I respond? Just very briefly. Thank you for your comments, but I'm getting a little bit tired of saying Cleveland might do it this way. I had a privilege of working in other places, but this is Marty Sweeney at Cuyahoga County, trying to do the best I can, working with my 10 other colleagues, and I'm just trying to advance stuff, and I'm getting frustrated, so I chose this mechanism. And I'd like to be able to talk to each and every one of you and tell you exactly what I'm thinking. So thank you for letting me respond, Mr. President.
All right, well, if there's no other miscellaneous business,
Mr. President.
you like to comment?
On a lighter note, as you most all know, that I give out the Employee of the Year biweekly. We hope that all employees available for that distinguished award pay attention here. We have a new trophy.
Heavyweight champion. What is that?
And the inaugural gift is in minutes, so stick by. Who will be the lucky winner?
I would run fast.
What? Hold it back up again.
One more time. You gotta hold it up over your head. Don't you always... Do they have to wear a mic? Sonny Simon's on here.
Is
What is that?
It's myself and under Jonani. There's the greatest thing here that everybody's been told that if Gallagher and Simon agree, it can't be wrong.
All right.
He didn't talk to me about this beforehand either.
That is correct.
Councilman, there's a process about bringing these.
All right, well, if absolutely nothing else holds our attention, this meeting is now concluded.